Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 509 based on novel. So let's start. The white tiger old man revealed a cold gaze. Wang Lin's attitude made him very uncomfortable. He had reached the critical years in his healing, and because of how the healing laws worked, he couldn't use more than early-stage arcane void cultivation. If he did, he would have issues in the future. He originally thought this much power would be enough to kill Wang Lin. However, that attack from Wang Lin was extremely strange and had caused the white tiger old man's mind to tremble. It made him feel like he couldn't see through Wang Lin's true strength. In addition, Wang Lin had broken the celestial sovereign seal, which caused the white tiger to feel dread and fear. However, he had been cultivating as a celestial for countless years and wouldn't be pushed back after just a few words from Wang Lin. His pride also won't let him retreat. He was a celestial, and in his view, no matter how powerful Wang Lin was just a lower realm ant. The more calm Wang Lin was, the more pressure the white tiger old man felt and the more angry he became. He was not only angry at Wang Lin but more at himself for feeling fear. He couldn't imagine how he could come to fear a lower realm ant. With a roar, the white tiger old man's eyes released a white light. This white light contained an extremely powerful and domineering aura. This aura came from the old man's cultivation method. This was the power of the fierce white tiger star. As he roared, the white tiger old man stepped forward and charged at Wang Lin. His right hand formed a seal as he pointed at the sky and let out a roar. "So what if I force you? If you can take 3 of my spells, then you have the right to talk to us." The old man's voice rumbled and a thunderous rumble echoed across the ancient celestial realm. This sent off countless muffled echoes and made it sound like it wasn't just one person who roared but countless people. As a result, this roar was heaven-shaking and formed a powerful impact that caused the earth to tremble. First style, tiger roar sweeps the mountains and rivers. The old man waved his sleeves and a monstrous white tiger appeared behind him. This white tiger was extremely mighty, and its eyes flashed white as it looked at Wang Lin. It let out a heaven-shattering roar. This roar shook the sky. The sky of the ancient celestial realm looked like it was about to collapse. Fish-like scales appeared in the sky and fell, creating irregular cracks in space. The earth behind Wang Lin trembled violently. A violent wind roared and the earth showed signs of collapse as the trembling increased. The earth seemed to have suddenly gone soft, and the rumbles continued to spread endlessly in all directions. From afar, it looked like countless scars were created on the earth. It was extremely shocking. The roar from the tiger completely replaced all other sounds in this world. The sounds echoed and integrated together to form an extremely powerful force. As the earth cracked, it suddenly collapsed. The sky seemed to collapse, and the fragments shattered. This caused the world to be shrouded in darkness. The only thing that remained was the violent tiger roar that was becoming louder and louder. Wang Lin's ears rumbled as he stood in the air. The sky above him disintegrated and the earth below his feet collapsed. His entire body was surrounded by the roar of the white tiger. The wind caused his hair and clothes to flutter. It was trying to rip his body apart. If it wasn't for the fact he had the body of ancient god, his body would have collapsed even with his mid-stage spirit void cultivation. Then, after his body collapsed, his origin soul would be seriously injured. This tiger roar contained a pressure that was no weaker than the might of the heavens. In Wang Lin's eyes, the might from the tiger had broken a limit and could devour all life. This was the ancient celestial realm, the core of this cave. If it was outside, in the inner realm or the outer realm, then the sky would change colors. Countless planets and even space itself would collapse. Many cultivators would die to this roar. Wang Lin's body didn't retreat from the roar and wind. He was calm and closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes, everything in the world became false. This false was something created by his mind, so it was not actually real, but Wang Lin had comprehended the true and false Tao. If he thought it was false, then his body, his origin soul, his mind, his everything would think the outside world was false. The true and false essence was a type of ethereal essence. It was born from the heart. The moment Wang Lin closed his eyes, his hair stopped fluttering in the wind as if the wind had disappeared. His hair scattered and draped over his shoulders. His clothes were also flapping in the wind, but at this moment, they also calmed down. It was as if there was no wind hitting them. It was as if there was no wind around him. However, in truth, the roar of the wind became several times stronger, and the tiger roar was also several times stronger. The collapse of the earth extended and the disintegration of the sky spread. Wang Lin's body remained untouched and calm. Wang Lin's calmness before the wind and tiger roar was a huge contradiction that didn't fit in with the rest of the world. The white tiger old man let out a roar and took a step forward. He moved like lightning toward Wang Lin. In an instant, he closed in on Wang Lin. He waved his right hand and golden light gathered in his palm, forming a golden blade. This blade was 10 feet tall, and the white tiger old man held it up. The moment he closed in, he raised his arm and chopped down on Wang Lin's head. This chop caused the tiger roar to become even more intense. The sky changed colors and the wind became even stronger. The blade fell on Wang Lin, who had his eyes closed. There was no resistance, the blade chopped straight through Wang Lin. A sharp sound echoed when the heaven-splitting blade cut through Wang Lin, but no injuries appeared on his body. It was as if the blade had only cut through a shadow of Wang Lin. True and false essence. This is the true and false essence. Damn it, the 7 laws the celestial sovereign set prevented the birth of ethereal essences. If not for the fact that he was seriously injured and had to withdraw those 7 laws, this person would have never had the chance to comprehend this ethereal essence. The white tiger old man's eyes were filled with shock, but he was also unwilling to give up. He waved the blade in his hand thousands of times. Sharp howls continued to echo, but Wang Lin's figure remained an illusion. The blade chopped through his body, but nothing about him changed. The moment the white tiger old man swept the blade for the last time, Wang Lin opened his eyes and said one thing. "Have you chopped enough?" After he said this, the old man retreated without hesitation, but as he retreated, Wang Lin stepped forward. He immediately appeared before the old man and raised his right hand. His right hand formed a palm and gently hit the old man's chest. This palm was gentle and powerless, as if it had no killing power. However, the moment it landed, the expression of the white tiger old man changed greatly. A sense of life and death filled his mind. This seemingly gentle palm caused him to feel terror. This is, he wanted to retreat more to get away from Wang Lin's hand, but it was too late. When Wang Lin's palm landed, there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Then his fingers buckled and he pulled his hand back. A monstrous rumble echoed and the old man coughed out blood. His body retreated as if he was a kite with a broken string. However, a white gas was pulled out from the old man and gathered in Wang Lin's hand. Karma. This is karma essence. You actually have 2 ethereal essences. Wang Lin coldly looked at the white tiger old man. The sound of the tiger roar was still lingering in his ears. With a cold snort, Wang Lin didn't chase but crushed the white gas in his hand. The white tiger old man trembled and coughed out blood and then started to retreat even faster. You welcomed me with the tiger roar, so I'll return the favor. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he put his right hand between his eyebrows. His ancient god stars appeared and the stars in his left and right eye also appeared. The ancient head appeared behind him. The shadows of the 3 ancient clans appeared around the ancient head and occupied the world behind Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin let out a roar. As he roared, the ancient head also opened its mouth and let out a roar. The 3 ancient clan shadows also opened their mouths and let out roars. These roars completely suppressed the tiger roar and formed an indescribable sound wave that smashed forward. The white tiger old man was pierced by the roar, making him stagger. His hands formed a seal and the large white tiger fused with the old man. Looking from afar, the old man disappeared, and only the incomparably large white tiger could be seen. The tiger roared and fled from the roars of the 3 ancient clans. Wang Lin stepped forward, and as he closed in, the roar from the ancient head spread out. The earth collapsed once more, and as the clouds scattered, this roar became the strongest sound in the world. The sound wave from the roar went through Wang Lin and shot toward the giant white tiger. When the sound wave hit, the white tiger became distorted and showed signs of collapsing. It held on, but it retreated even faster. Although this fierce tiger contained endless majesty, it was still inferior to Wang Lin. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed forward. The ancient head behind him went through his body and chased after the white tiger. From afar, this was a scene that could shock one's mind. The collapsing sky seemed to be split in half. Half of it was the ancient head and the other half was the huge white tiger. One behemoth retreated while the other pushed forward. The distance between them lessened and the ancient head instantly closed in on the white tiger to devour it. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The collision of the ancient head and white tiger resulted in a massive shockwave that spread across the ancient celestial realm. The earth collapsed and even some of the statues behind the 4 giant statues exploded. This shockwave seemed like it was going to destroy the entire ancient celestial realm. Under the force of this shockwave, the white tiger's giant body collapsed and turned into specks of light. The white-haired old man coughed out a large mouth of blood and his body flew back. He smashed into the mountain-like statue he had been healing inside of. Cracking sounds echoed and countless cracks spread across the statue the old man hit. The cracks made the statue seem like it would collapse at any moment. Wang Lin also retreated from this impact and his face turned slightly pale. However, the coldness in his calm gaze became even stronger. This was the most intense battle Wang Lin had without using the Li Guang bow. He wasn't fighting a cultivator or something from the outer realm, he was fighting one of the 4 generals under the celestial sovereign, the White Tiger General. The White Tiger General had lived for a long time. He didn't belong to the inner realm or the outer realm, he was from the mysterious immortal astral continent. He was a celestial, a real celestial. His bloodline contained celestial energy which placed him on a higher level of existence than Wang Lin. If it wasn't for the fact that he was seriously injured back then and still hadn't fully recovered, Wang Lin would be having an even more difficult time right now. However, in a battle of life and death, there was no fairness. Life was life, death was death. As Wang Lin retreated, the ancient head and the shadows of the 3 ancient clans also retreated. The 3 shadows collapsed and only the head remained. It covered the sky, but it was becoming blurry. Wang Lin was at the mid-stage of Spirit Void, but with his ancient god body and spells, he could battle early-stage Arcane Void cultivators. Even if the enemy's cultivation level was beyond early-stage Arcane Void, he could take out the Li Guang bow. The power of one arrow from the bow was enough to shock the world. The white tiger old man's body was smashed into the statue, and while his expression was fierce, there was a deep sense of dread in his eyes. However, this dread wasn't enough for him to retreat. He was the White Tiger General, someone from the immortal astral continent, one of the 4 great generals under the 7-colored celestial sovereign. He had experienced countless battles and witnessed the huge changes in the cave world. He had his pride, and he wouldn't allow a lower realm and to beat him. Even though this lower realm and was making him feel fear, he suppressed this fear by force. Western White Tiger Tao, power of the 7 stars of heaven, all matter from grass to metal. My White Tiger inheritance condenses all the power to form my White Tiger clan's grand spell. Seal this person, show him that if you ride a tiger, it's hard to get off, the White Tiger old man roared, then he pressed his hand against the statue. He then flew away from the statue and his hands formed a seal. His eyes gave off a monstrous light and he pointed at Wang Lin. With this point, the endless specks of light from the White Tiger reappeared. They gathered toward Wang Lin at an unimaginable speed. In an instant, the endless white light formed the shocking white tiger under Wang Lin. From afar, it looked like Wang Lin was standing on the white tiger. A powerful pressure spread out from the white tiger, and the space around Wang Lin seemed to be sealed. This pressure became even stronger until it formed a powerful seal. This seal was suppressing Wang Lin. It was invisible, but Wang Lin could clearly feel it. His expression was solemn, but this seal suppressed the world around Wang Lin, making him feel like he was in quagmire, and even his breathing became heavy. Popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body. The sealing power from the white tiger below him was preventing him from getting away from it. As time passed, the pressure from the seal increased. It was like big hands were holding Wang Lin's body down. His body moved closer and closer to the white tiger until he was standing on top of it and unable to move an inch. The white tiger roared and all the hair on its body stood up. Its fur looked like blades of grass dancing. A glaring, white light came from its body, and countless runes could be seen flashing on its body. These runes were like seal. When a large amount of runes appeared, the white tiger seemed to have become a living seal. As more and more runes appeared, the white tiger's body turned into a giant white vortex. Countless seals rotated inside the vortex and a howl echoed. If one looked carefully, it wasn't a vortex at all. It was the giant white tiger running in circles below Wang Lin so fast that it formed a vortex. The vortex had shocking suction force, and with the sealing power holding him down, it was impossible for Wang Lin to get out. It was like a mortal riding a tiger. The mortal couldn't get off at all. This was the white tiger general spell. If you ride a tiger, it's hard to get off. It was a spell and also a seal. White tiger spirit, take this person's soul and suppress it under the cave, under the 7 Dao mountain of the immortal astral continent. The white tiger old man waved his arms and let out a fierce roar. As his voice echoed, a shocking tiger roar came from the vortex. A fierce tiger hundreds of feet large flew out from the vortex. This white tiger was the spirit of the white tiger. It was like the origin soul of a cultivator. As it charged out from the vortex, it continued to distort, and its majesty became even stronger. As it charged toward Wang Lin, it didn't devour Wang Lin directly but entangled him like a python. It opened its mouth toward Wang Lin's head and was about to pull Wang Lin into the vortex below. If Wang Lin was taken away, he would be suppressed in the lowest part of the cave until death. Wang Lin had never seen this white tiger old man spell before. This was a spell that didn't belong in this world. It came from the immortal astral continent. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy, and as the white tiger's mouth closed in, Wang Lin raised his left hand and pressed it against the tiger's mouth. What a good spell. Today, I won't get off this tiger. Since you want to suppress me, then let's see if it's this tiger suppressing me or I suppressing this tiger. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, but he didn't use any spells. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, his aura changed. The aura of a grand scholar spread out from his body. At this moment, he wasn't a cultivator, he was a grand scholar. He was a grand scholar who had comprehended the truth about the heavens and learned that this world was just a cave. With this grand scholar aura, Wang Lin feared nothing, and his eyes were calm but gave off a powerful force. He turned his head and looked at the tiger spirit. With a gaze his aura rushed to suppress the tiger spirit. This tiger spirit was not a celestial beast formed by a spell but ordinary like a mortal tiger. You dare to devour me? Wang Lin spoke slowly and then suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at the tiger spirit and gave off a sense of pressure without being angry. He had the aura of a grand scholar that wasn't even afraid of heaven, so how could he be afraid of this little tiger? The tiger spirit that was wrapped around him trembled and a hint of fear appeared in its eyes. An uncontrollable stream of thoughts went through in its mind. It was as if it had seen through many reincarnations. It saw its ancestor white tiger kneeling and worshipping the heavens on the immortal astral continent. It didn't know that thoughts like this existed in its mind, but it felt fear that came from its soul. As Wang Lin spoke, he seemed to turn into heaven itself and suppressed the tiger spirit. This pressure contained all of Wang Lin's comprehension, his 3 ethereal essences, and his endless might. The tiger spirit sobbed and let go of Wang Lin's body. It then retreated and lowered its head at Wang Lin. The white-haired old man looked at this with disbelief in his eyes. The tiger spirit lowered its head and bowed at Wang Lin. It then charged into the vortex and fused with it. The vortex disappeared and turned back into the giant white tiger. The white tiger let out a cry and leaped out from under Wang Lin and into the sky. In the distance, it turned back to look at Wang Lin and completely ignored the white-haired old man. It shook its body and then turned into endless specks of white light that lit up the ancient celestial realm. Impossible. The white-haired old man's face was pale. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. Just as the world was being lit up by the white light from the dissipating white tiger, an azure silhouette walked out from the vortex of one of the statues. As it appeared, a dragon's roar echoed. The silhouette turned into a giant azure dragon that stretched across the sky. At the same time, an old man wearing an azure robe walked out from the azure dragon. He turned into a ray of light and shot toward Wang Lin. It was faster than lightning, and this happened right as the glaring light dissipated. When the old man in the azure robe closed in on Wang Lin, his right index finger stretched out. His gaze was calm, but there was a hit of killing intent as he pressed his finger toward Wang Lin's head. As his finger moved, the giant azure dragon behind him moved even faster and caught up with the old man. It entered his body, went into his finger, and shot toward Wang Lin. From afar, it looked like a painting. In the painting, the old man in the azure robe was covered in an azure light, and behind him, a long azure dragon stretched out. It was as if the old man had disappeared and had been replaced with the azure dragon that was closing in on Wang Lin. All of this happened too fast. He was within 3 feet of Wang Lin instantly. At the same time, an old man in black walked out from another statue. The moment he appeared, the sky darkened and a giant black tortoise appeared. It let out a shocking roar. When the old man in black appeared, he also moved like lightning and charged at Wang Lin. He moved at the same speed as the old man in azure and threw a punch. The black tortoise shadow became distorted with the roar and fused with the old man. Countless thorns appeared on his fist. The azure dragon general and the black tortoise general both decided to attack at this moment in almost a sneak attack. They flew straight at Wang Lin. The 4 great generals had worked together for many years and knew each other well. The moment the two attacked, the white tiger general wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Although he didn't have the white tiger shadow, he still had the blade in his hand. He jumped into the air and slashed down toward Wang Lin with a roar. Only the vermilion bird general didn't appear. It was as if he believed that the combined attack of those 3 was enough to kill Wang Lin. All of this happened in an instant. The azure dragon general closed in. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the feeling of a life and death crisis surrounded him. Other people would panic, but Wang Lin had spent his life constantly experiencing this feeling and had long grown accustomed to it. The more dangerous it was, the more calm he would become. In his heart, he really didn't consider those injured celestials a danger. So what if they attacked at the same time? Wang Lin let out a laugh and raised his right hand. He extended his index finger and pointed at the azure dragon's finger. During this process, the ancient head behind him fused with his finger. At the same time, all his stars rotated and the 3 ancient powers fused to form Wang Lin's original ancient spell. Ancient Immortal Finger. This finger could break the 7-colored celestial sovereign's seal, so why would Wang Lin need to fear this injured azure dragon? With a point of his finger, the sky changed colors and the clouds shattered. The azure dragon general was no longer calm and his expression changed. The next instant, his finger collided with Wang Lin. Thunderous rumbles echoed. This shocking sound was enough to shake one's mind. The moment they collided, the azure dragon general coughed out blood and the endless azure dragon behind him collapsed. The azure dragon general was forced back 1,000 feet before he barely stopped him himself. His eyes were filled with fear. The ancient immortal finger contained the most powerful blow from Wang Lin's ancient inheritance. It wouldn't completely collapse because it could recover endlessly. The azure dragon general's finger had only caused it collapse several hundred times. It was far weaker than the seal. Hundreds of collapses were not enough to destroy Wang Lin's ancient immortal finger. The one forced to retreat was the azure dragon general. However, Wang Lin's body suffered as well. Only his finger was immortal, not his body. Blood flowed out from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth. A rumble echoed in his body and his internal organ gave off bursts of pain. However, Wang Lin suppressed this intense pain, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. After forcing back the azure dragon general, the drop of golden blood containing the celestial immortal body flew out. The pressure it gave off terrified the 4 generals. This drop of blood contained extremely pure celestial bloodline. The black tortoise general was the closest to Wang Lin right now and was hit by the golden light. It was as if he was going to be turned to gas by the light as black smoke appeared on his body. A miserable scream quickly followed. The drop of golden blood flew out from Wang Lin's eyebrows and flew toward the Black Tortoise General. The drop of blood penetrated his hands and the Black Tortoise shadow behind him collapsed. He let out a painful roar. The Black Tortoise General coughed out blood and rapidly retreated. His body was surrounded by black gas and his right fist was a bloody mess. His eyes were filled with fear as he fled. Celestial bloodline, you actually have celestial bloodline. Impossible, the purity of this celestial bloodline. This is the immortal celestial body. As it retreated, the drop of golden blood flew back to Wang Lin. One finger had forced back Azure Dragon and one drop of blood had collapsed the Black Tortoise. However, the crisis wasn't over, there was still the heaven-splitting blade from the injured White Tiger General. The blade closed in with a howl. As it closed in, Wang Lin raised his head and suppressed the raging energy inside him. He then raised his right hand and pressed toward the descending blade. A 9-colored firestorm surged with his palm and then thunder followed. The fire formed a palm print that flew toward the White Tiger General's blade. Thunder gathered and formed another palm filled with thunder. It followed directly after the fire palm. This wasn't the end. After the thunder palm, the power of karma gathered to form a mass of chaotic energy that turned into the third palm. The life and death essence was next. The black and white gases fused to form the fourth palm print. The true and false essence appeared. The interchange between true and false caused the fifth palm print to instantly form. In the end, a shocking slaughter essence erupted from Wang Lin's body to form the sixth palm print. The 6 palm prints connected, looking like afterimages as they flew toward the blade from the White Tiger General. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world and formed a storm. As the rumbles echoed, the blade in the White Tiger General's hand broke down. After the blade collapsed, the 6 palm prints landed on his chest. The White Tiger General let out a scream and a large amount of celestial energy erupted from his body. As he was knocked back, the Azure Dragon General and the Black Tortoise General supported the seriously injured White Tiger General from behind. Help me rip open the healing seal so I can release my essence and kill him. The White Tiger General looked weak and his face was pale, but his eyes gave off a ferocious light. He pushed back the Azure Dragon and the Black Tortoise. His white hair was a mess and he began to roar like crazy. As he roared, his aura began to erupt and a golden rune appeared between his eyebrows. Azure Dragon, Black Tortoise, help me open the seal. If not for the fact we have to recover our cultivator, we wouldn't be getting pushed back by this ant. I'll kill him. What qualification does he have to push back celestials like us? He is merely a lower realm ant. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, but he was still injured. He almost wasn't able to withstand the joint attack from the 3 of them. If not for the fact that he had many methods up his sleeves, he would have been seriously injured. Now that he saw the White Tiger go crazy, he raised his left hand and reached at the void. A golden glare came from his palm, and when the golden light disappeared, an ancient bow appeared. His left hand held the bow and his right hand pulled the bowstring. Wang Lin pulled it back until it was drawn completely. An ancient arrow slowly appeared on the bowstring. The moment the buzz from the bowstring echoed, everything became silent. The White Tiger no longer roared and no longer tried to rip open the seal. He stood there, stunned as he looked at the bow in Wang Lin's hands. An unhideable fear appeared in his eyes. The Azure Dragon General was also startled for a moment. He subconsciously retreated and his eyes were filled with fear. Li Guang's bow. The Black Tortoise General was also terrified. The black gas around his body had just been suppressed, but when he saw the bow, his face turned deathly pale. Fellow Celestial Wang Lin, please don't be angry. Please give this old man some face and let us talk. During this silence, a red-robed silhouette walked out from the last of the 4 statues. He was slightly embarrassed as he clasped his hands at Wang Lin. This video will end here.